Hello, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a fun card featuring the Boo Cats stamp set from Miss Ink. This is a newer stamp set that just came out with their fall release. And I am going to start my card by inking up a piece of Nena 110 pound cardstock. And I didn't cut this to a specific size, but the finished card will end up being a mini slimline. So what, 3.25 by 6, I believe. So, and I'm starting off by just ink blending some distress ink through the smallest moon stencil from Holtz. This is the moon stencil, comes in a 3-pack, and I'm just ink blending the smallest one. And so I'm using some squeezed lemonade, and I'm just blending that on with a small blending brush and blending through that moon stencil to try to give the appearance of a moon. And I'm adding a little bit of old paper to this to add a little bit of shadow in the areas where the moon is open. You know how the moon sort of has the shadow spots on it. So that is what I'm doing. And then I'm also adding a little bit of the squeezed lemonade to the outside edge of the moon to give it the appearance that it's glowing. I really love these moon stencils. They are awesome. But you can also do the same effect. Just trace a circle, or if you have a circle stencil, just use that, and then you can create your own shadows within the moon. I've done that many times, and that works just as well also. So you sometimes just have to get creative. If you want to make a moon and you don't have a moon stencil, give it a shot on your own. Just make your own. So here I'm just touching up this moon, adding a little bit more shadow into it. And now I'm going to add the solid mask, the solid circle, and I'm just going to use a little bit of repositionable adhesive on that just to hold it in place, and I'm going to start ink blending my background. And I don't think you can see it on this panel, but I did make some little pencil marks off to the side, and I'm going to mask those with some clear post-it notes. This is the first time I'm using these, but actually they worked out really well because you can see through them, so it's great for crafting. And I think we picked these up at like Office Depot or Office Max, something like that. So I'm going to create a night sky, and I am using prize ribbon, wilted violet, and just a little bit of black soot on this to give it the appearance of a nighttime sky. And I really love the combination of the prize ribbon and the wilted violet together. I think they work great together for creating a night sky. And just blending those together, and I'm blending up to that line where my post-it notes are, which you can't see. And then I'm going back in with a little bit of squeezed lemonade, once again to give it that glow around the moon, making sure it has more of a defined edge to the moon there. And here I'll add a little bit of black soot to the edges. And then I came back in with a little bit more prize ribbon. So now I've got my card background in my panel, and I'm just checking it against the stamp to see where the stamp is going to sit on my card. And when I masked it, I didn't get it quite straight on there. I didn't get it quite where it needed to go. So I'm adding the mask back onto it. And I have a little sliver there of cardstock that I need to add some more ink to make it even across the bottom. And I really think that's the beauty of the distress inks, is that you can, if you have any issues, you can just go back over it and reblend it, and no one will ever know. So this works out really well. Adding just a little bit of the darker inks to the bottom, and I'm just going to fill in that little gap that I have a little bit, make it look a little bit more straight. And when I take it off, it's fairly close to perfect. And for this, you'll see why later. It doesn't have to be perfect. But now I'm going to add the masks to the top half of the cardstock, just to cover that ink blending up and cover up the moon area, because I don't want to get any ink on those. And I'm going to use the Tim Holtz. This is the brick wall stencil, and the number on this stencil is THS038. And I think you can still get this. This may be retired, but I have seen a few shops that still have it. So you can probably still find it online. And I'm just ink blending some, I believe it's pumice stone and hickory smoke on this. And I'm not blending it, I'm not trying to cover up the entire like white part of the cardstock. I'm trying to just give it the look of a brick wall, basically. And a brick wall that's either white or kind of a dirty white. So I'm just using that stencil to do that. And then because the center part of the stencil leaves a little bit of an edge, I kind of moved it over to one side to get that far right edge a little bit and make it look like it's kind of a seamless blend across. It has a little bit of a line, but I'm going to cover that up with a little bit. I think I used just a touch of black soot on this as well, just to cover up that edge. And then I did use a little bit of the blue that was left on my blending brush, and I added just a touch of blue to that brick wall as well, just for a little bit of a contrasting color. You can see I'm filling in that edge of the brick wall. In reality, this doesn't matter because I'm going to end up trimming this up a little bit, because as I said, I didn't really measure this piece of cardstock. I just used a scrap piece, so the edges are going to get trimmed off anyway. So that was kind of a waste of my time, but that's okay. It works. So next I'm going to color up the Boo Cats image. I have actually stamped this with some Dare to Be Artsy Totally Black ink, and I have cut it out using my brother's Scan and Cut. I don't believe that there is a coordinating die set for this, so that's why I cut it on my brother machine. And unfortunately the brother doesn't cut out the inside of the letters for the Boo that's made up with their tails, so I ended up having to fussy cut that out after I colored it. So I have this sitting on a sticky mat just so to hold the die cut piece in place while I'm coloring it, and I'm going to put on a little bit of music while I color, and so I'll be back when I'm done. Enjoy! Okay, we are just wrapping up the coloring for this image. I'm putting the finishing touches on those cute little witches' hats that are sitting on the kitties' heads. And off camera I have cut a strip of cardstock, and I have ink blended a little bit on it. It was gray cardstock, and I embossed it with a Stampin' Up! This is Brick and Mortar is the name of the embossing folder, and you can see that I have my kitties cut out, and I also die cut some pumpkins. Those are from the Nichol Spohr fall sets that were released this year. I believe one of them is the Wagon, and the other one is just the Harvest set. So I have also stamped and heat embossed the sentiment, which reads wishing you a happy Halloween, and I have embossed that with some Brutus Monroe. This is the night shift embossing powder. This is the blue color. And here I'm going to add my little, actually first I'm going to color up my pumpkins. So I went ahead and put those on my sticky mat, and I'm just going to add a little bit of color and dimension to them with some Copic markers. Shades of orange, and I believe I used just a hint of brown on these as well. So just coloring those up. These pumpkins do have sort of an embossed line to them, so it gives them a little bit of dimension. So I'm defining that a little bit more with my Copic markers here, which is just a quick and easy coloring. And then I'm going to use a little bit of brown for the stem. These pumpkins are so cute, and I think they just really add to the card, so it was a nice addition. And you certainly could cut those from some white too and just color them all together. So now I'm going to add the top part of my little embossed strip to the top part of the wall. This is going to give it sort of a ledge. I'm trying to line this up. I should have cut it first. So I'm going to trim off the ends of that. And then it already has some dimensional foam on the back of it. And I'm just going to line it up with my T-ruler. Figure out which side of my T-ruler I'm going to use. And then I'm going to line that up at the top part of the wall and just adhere that in place, and then I'll just trim off the ends. And I am now adding some dimensional foam to the back of my kitties, and they are going to sit right on top of my wall. This is so cute. I cannot get over how cute this turned out. Now I will add the pumpkins to the bottom. Then I'm just going to use, on two of them I'm just going to use some liquid glue. This is the Honeybee Stamps liquid glue. I'm just putting those in place, and then I will use my reverse tweezers to hold it while it dries. And then I'll add the other two pumpkins. And all of the pumpkins in Nicole's die cut sets are all just a little bit different. I think she had 3 sets that were released, and there's a pumpkin in every set. So, and I will link those down below in the description so that you can check those out as well. There's a lot of other dies that come in those sets, so you can create a fun fall scene. Adding some dimensional foam to that smallest pumpkin, and then we'll add liquid glue to the third one. And once again, use our reverse tweezers to hold that in place while the glue dries. And for a finishing touch, I am just adding a little bit of bling to this, using some of my little gemstones to add in the sky and then down on the wall portion. putting a little bit of liquid glue on those just to hold them in place. And then I'm going to add a little bit of sparkle to my witch's hats as well, using an aqua shimmer pen here. Adding some dimensional foam to the back of the panel, and then I'm going to put it on a mini slimline card base. This is made from some Nena 110-pound cardstock. So once again, Nena is typically what I use for all of my card bases and all of my coloring. And I did get this, this panel ended up being a little bit smaller than the mini slimline, so I went ahead and trimmed off that top edge of the card base. And here I am just adding the Nena, or adding the tonic shimmer pen to this to give it a little bit of sparkle to the witch's hats. And that is going to wrap up my card for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please, you can check out my blog link too in the description below. And thank you so much for joining me.